All right, testing 1, 2. Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing? Good. I didn't know you guys were so talented. Who was the person that was good at selling stuff? Is that one of you guys over here? What do you sell? You're going to get a stand? You can sell like lemonade or... Lemonade stand. That'd be... I'm thirsty right now. Lemonade sounds really good. Are you guys awake this morning? How many of you guys are awake? Raise your hand if you're awake. All right, 60% of you are awake. Well, we're going to be a little interactive today, so you guys are going to have to be awake. So the other 40% need you to wake up. Why don't you shake around a little bit? Let's make sure we're awake. Okay. So, we're going to talk a little bit about Christians being scattered, and so I thought a good activity to kind of get a feel for that is I'm going to scatter you guys. You guys ready for this? Okay, so you're going to have to, if you need to put your shoes on, get all ready for this, okay? All right, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then I'm going to have you get up and do it. But, you guys know which month you were born in, your birth month? Be thinking of that, okay? Because here's what we're going to do. If you were born in January or February, you're going to sit here. If you were born in March or April, here. May or June is going to be here. July and August, September and October, and November and December. You got it? Does that make sense? Okay, ready, go! All right, we're scattering. March and April right here. Okay, so we should have January and February here, March and April, May and June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You guys are all scattered, right? How many of you guys are in the same square that you usually are? There's a few of you, right? Same square, okay. How many of you in a different square than you usually are in? Okay. How many of you are now sitting next to people that you're not used to sitting next to? Right? So where's my kindergartners? We've got some kindergartners back there in the 5th grade spot and here in the 1st grade. And how about 1st graders? You guys are all mixed up. 2nd graders. Right? You guys are all kind of scattered, right? And so we're talking about, in today's part of the Big God story, of how the Christians were scattered. The Roman emperor was persecuting them, and so that kind of just made them go all around. And so there were some things, think about being scattered. Okay, let's say right now you're in a different square, which is kind of weird, right? How many people think it's kind of weird? You're looking at me from an angle that's not normal. Okay? But imagine having to leave your house and go to a different house, right? But not only that, what if maybe even part of your family had to go to a different house and part of your family went somewhere else and you're just scattered, right? That'd be kind of weird. What kind of emotions would we be feeling? Maybe lonely, missing certain people? How many of you guys are missing some of your friends right now because you're in a different square than them? See? That kind of stuff, right? And so they were scattered, and so they had to leave their friends, and sometimes they had to leave their family. A couple weeks ago, I think we talked about Priscilla and Aquila. How many people remember them? Was that like 2 weeks ago maybe? I think it was the week I was gone. And we taught they actually had to leave their home, and they were scattered. But what we learned from them a couple weeks ago is that they trusted God as the Holy One through whatever they did. And so we're going to talk a little bit about God being holy and a little bit about what that means for us. Okay, so Miss Tiffany told me I couldn't leave you out of your normal squares for too terribly long. I couldn't leave you scattered too much. So, everybody back to their normal squares. All right, anybody lost trying to get back to their square? Everybody feeling we're good? All right. Everybody take a deep breath. You guys are feeling much more comfortable now, right? Because you're in your normal spot. Feeling better? Okay. Let's go ahead and throw up our timeline and see who it is we're talking about. All right, we're talking about Peter. And since I'm on stage, Miss Tiffany's having to run tech today, and she was a little loud. Everybody tell Miss Tiffany we're a little loud. Little loud. Okay. Now that we've got that dealt with, she knows she was loud. We're back in our squares. Okay, so I have what we're going to do, even though I'm not allowed to keep you guys scattered, we're still going to stay a little interactive. So I've got these signs that are representative of different churches. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick somebody to hold my sign right here, right in the middle. You want to hold that sign for me? Okay, so kindergarten and first grade, you guys are Bithynia. Say that. Can you guys say that? Bithynia? Okay. All right, and second grade, let's see, all right there in the front. You guys are Cappadocia. Can you say Cappadocia? Okay. And third grade, you guys have an easy one. Let's see. I'm going to go right here. Right here, right here, right here. You guys are Asia. Asia, that one's pretty easy, right? Asia, okay. And let's see, right there, you guys are Galatia. And you guys are Pontus. All right, so you guys are all representing different churches. And we said from our timeline that we're talking about Peter. Now, Peter was a disciple of Jesus. He lived with Jesus. He followed Jesus. And then after Jesus ascended into heaven, Peter was one of the leaders of the church. Okay, was actually one of the main leaders of the church. And so that's who Peter was. And Peter wrote some letters that are in our Bible. Okay, now, you guys familiar with Paul? Okay, I think next week we're talking a little more about Paul. Paul wrote specific letters to specific churches. So we got Galatia back there. Hold up Galatia for me really high. Yeah, that's you, Galatia, okay? Like Paul wrote a specific letter to Galatia, okay? Well, Peter, he wrote a letter, and what he did is he actually wrote it designed to get passed from church to church, okay? It was going to go over here to maybe Bithynia, and then maybe to go to Asia and Cappadocia, and it gets passed around, okay? So, how many guys have your Bibles today? Raise them up high if you've got them. Okay? We're going to be in 1 Peter today, so if you want to follow along, 1 Peter will be the place to be. Okay, let me get my Bible ready. 1 Peter chapter 1. We're starting right at the beginning of 1 Peter. Okay? You found it? Anybody still looking? I'll give you a couple seconds to get there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read a passage of 1 Peter, and then there's actually going to be a scroll for each of your churches, each of your groups, that is going to go up on the screen, and we're going to read that, and then we're going to get a feel for what Peter's trying to teach us this morning. Sound good? How many are awake now? 65%. I've increased the awakeness by 5%. Okay, so let's go 1 Peter chapter 2. Verse 11, and it says, "Dear friends, I urge you as foreigners and exiles to abstain from sinful desires which wage war against your soul." Okay, let's see what our first scroll says. It says, "As God's people, you are strangers in this world." So we're talking about foreigners or strangers. Okay, what is a foreigner? Do you know what a foreigner? It says it on there, okay. What was that? A stranger. Foreigner's a stranger, right? It also says on the screen. If I was in England, let's say, I'd be a foreigner because I'm American, right? And if somebody from England might be here, there would be a foreigner. It's not where they're from. Okay, so we talk about how the Christians were scattered. They were foreigners. And so Peter writes, as foreigners, there's certain things he should abstain from. There are things that are different. They should be different. They should be living different because of their faith. You guys, that last song that you guys got all your exercise on, what was the name of that song? You guys know? Walk This Way, right? And in there it talks about the fact that you're going to walk a certain way because Jesus is with us and Jesus calls us to do it. And that's exactly what Peter's talking about here. He's saying, live differently because of who you are. You're foreigners because you're Christians. All right, guys, can we stop playing with the stage here? Let me pull that back there for you. Okay, there you go. Why don't you scoot back a little bit behind the yellow line right there. There you go. All Okay, so first scroll talks about foreigners. As Christians, we're going to live differently. There's certain things we're not going to do and certain things we are going to do. Okay, next passage, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. And it says, "As obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do." Let's put up scroll number 2. All right, and we're going to kind of represent this, so this is going to be kind of your guys' scroll. Scroll number 2, it says, "As believers, you're not just different on the outside, you're different on the inside too." So kind of, again, following up to the idea of being different. And what's interesting to me in this passage is that it says in verse 15, "He who has called you." So we've been called as Christians, and we need to obey. Because God is holy, we should strive to be holy. And you know what? My favorite definition of holy is set apart. Different, set apart for something good. So, we're foreigners. We are different. We're Christians. We live a little differently than what the world does. And we're called to be holy, to be set apart. In fact, can you guys say that for me? Set apart. All right, I still got about 65% of you awake. Let's try it one more time. Set apart. Okay. All right. Let's move to scroll number 3. Well, not scroll number 3, but what the passage that goes with it. 1 Peter 1:21 says, "Through him you believe in God, who raised him from the dead and glorified him, and so your faith and hope are in God." Scroll number 3, and you know what? Asia, I think you guys can actually read this scroll for me because I'm getting tired already. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. So, Asia, what's that? Go ahead and read it. All of you read it for me. That was a long scroll. That's right. So it talks about because we're called to be set apart, he gives us his Spirit to comfort us. And so we have hope. We have comfort because God gives us the strength. Because one of the things that we're going to learn and that we do learn as we live the Christian life is that we can't make the right choices in our own strength. We have to be trusting in God to give us the strength to be holy, to be set apart. Okay. Next passage is 1 Peter 2:9 and 10. And it says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy." Guys, this is one of my favorite passages. How many of you have a sibling that's gone to Hume Lake? A few of you? Okay. 1 year at Hume Lake, this passage was what we memorized that whole week. And so let's see what our scroll says on that. And Galatia, what do you guys think you're up for reading this scroll for me? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a few. Okay, go for it. Okay, so as those who believe in God, you're not of this world. So that relates us back to our first thing about being foreigners. We have a true home in that we get to spend eternity with God, with Jesus in heaven. And so as that, Peter is reminding us that we are foreigners, that we're not going to be on this world, this earth forever. We're going to go to be with him in heaven. Okay? All right, one more. And that is 1 Peter 2:12 is the passage, and it says, "Live such good lives among the pagans, that though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day he visits us." Okay, 5th graders, you guys awake? You guys ready to read a scroll for me? All right, go for it. Okay, so you guys see that word set apart again? You guys, why don't we all say set apart? Okay, so holy means set apart. And so because we are set apart for God, we should shine His light. How many of you guys like lights? Yeah? How many rather just be dark all the time? A few of you like to be dark. Now, all the time, never to be able to see anything, just walk around in the dark. How many people would really like that? Yeah, a few of you wouldn't mind just being completely dark. Okay. You could get, that would be kind of light, yes. So, we're supposed to be lights. Now, there was a couple ways I think of this. One is that we should shine. The fact that we're living differently, the fact that we make choices that Jesus asks us to make, allows us to shine as a light. Now, when I was thinking about this week, I thought of this really weird thing. You guys are going to think this is weird, but this is okay. Growing up in the backyard, we had a bug zapper. How many of you guys have seen a bug zapper? Okay? Ours was like a blue, bright little light, and for some reason, the bugs liked to fly into the light and get zapped. Okay? And they'd make weird noises and stuff, right? So, I was thinking that maybe we should be human bug zappers. What do you guys think? Human bug zappers? We should be attracting people to Jesus. Now, it kind of falls apart in that we shouldn't really zap anyone. But the fact that we are light and that we attract those... How many people have brought a friend to church before? Right? The idea is that brought a friend to church. Like had a friend come to church with you or invited a friend to church. Hopefully they're seeing us and they're seeing the hope and the joy and the peace that we have in God, in Christ, and that they want it too. And so that's how we can think of light. So there's a couple things I want you guys to remember as we finish up this part of the Big God story today. One is that you should be human bug zappers. Okay, you can tell your parents you should be human bug zappers. And number two, that we should be set apart. Let's say that for me one more time. Oh, how many of you guys are awake now? Yeah, I've lowered. You're down to 40%. I put 25% of you asleep. All right. We're supposed to be holy, set apart. Let's say that one last time for me. There we go. Let's pray, and then we'll get you into response time. Dear Lord, thank you so much just for allowing us to be here today, Lord, and to just study this passage that Peter wrote, Lord, to the early Christians who were scattered, Lord. Thank you just for your message. Thank you for the hope that's in it. Thank you for your calling for us to be set apart, to live differently, to live lives that are worthy of the calling you've put on our lives. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here, and I pray for a great Sunday. In your name I pray. Amen. Okay, before